Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to part two of my journey with breast cancer and cervical cancer in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I left back on part one where me and my spouse at the time had some infidelity issues. And like I said, as cancer patients, um we have a lot to deal with, and me just speaking on my behalf, um just to be fair, I wasn't thinking about no one else's feelings. um I know that sounds selfish, but that really wasn't on my mind. I was just really trying to survive, to stay with my family. So after we got done with radiation, we were getting ready to do chemo. At this point, I already got my port. I think my port is on my I think it's on my left breast. I did 4 months of chemo, 4 rough months of chemo, and we was keeping up with the size. When we started chemo, the tumor mass was at 3 centimeters. That's pretty big. So it went from a pea size to almost a quarter or half a quarter, a 50 cent size, in my breast. And the game plan was to go through those extensive months of chemo. And I'm going to tell you the truth, it was hard because it was times where I was by myself. During chemo, my kids were at school. They was dealing with a lot. My oldest daughter, she was getting into a lot of trouble because she was dealing with her own feelings about this, so she was getting into trouble. And my son, he took it upon himself to seek counseling while I was going through this. So that really put a smile on my heart. And my middle daughter, she really didn't talk about her feelings much. She did what she could with me. They was a big help during my journey. So I really didn't have anyone with me during chemo. Spouse was either at school or work, or he just didn't want to come, and just being honest. Sometimes it hurt, you know what I'm saying? But I think with him, it was hard for him to see his significant other go through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to see your loved one taking that type of pain and coming home and have to deal with the side effects. I know my first round of chemo, um, I was sitting in the tub and I was looking at his face and I said, "I'm hurting. I'm hurting." He said, "Don't do that." My back, my bones were aching. And he said, "Don't do that. Don't do that." And I see it in his face. He did not want to see me in that light. And no one wants to see their loved one in that light. But it was definitely hard for me to endure chemo with no one by my side. Family was all the way in Louisiana. I was in Georgia, and they weren't unable to come out here. Friends didn't come out. It was really, 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 really rough. Sitting in that chair, taking notes, that medicine, and doing it by yourself. I know it's someone out there going through it, or has gone through it with taking chemo by themselves. It's not fun. It's like, I don't mean nothing to nobody. And I know that wasn't the case with some individuals. But Jesus was right there taking that needle with me. He was taking that IV with me. And I'm thinking, after those 4 months, I'm done. We finna go ahead and check the mass and to see if it shrunk a little so we could get ready for surgery and take the whole thing out. And went into the doctor's office. He said, "Miss Fields." When I hear my name like that, I'm like, what? Just go ahead and give it to me. And we have to the it's shrinking. Your mass is shrinking, but we're going to have to do a harsher drug of chemo. And I said, "What you mean a harsher drug?" What I was dealing with was already harsh. Hair falling out. We already shaved it off at this point. I couldn't deal with my hair falling out. I seen the my hair particles coming out in my hair, my hand, and I said, "Hey, just shave it off." So, what other harsher drugs are you referring to? And then they call it medical wise, they call it the red devil. I don't know the medical term for it, y'all. When I go to these doctors' offices for new doctors, because I'm transitioning off from Georgia, and I didn't have to tell my doctors in Georgia, and I love them so much. I love them. I didn't have to tell them, oh, this and this and this. They knew. So getting ready to see these new doctors. Oh, you had this done. I'm like, I don't know. I know I got both breasts taken off. I did this amount of months of chemo, this amount of months of radiation. This is how many rounds of radiation I did. I don't know all them terms and terminology. I don't know all that. So for the people, the experts, the cancer survivors that does the expert on the drugs and all that, that's for them. I don't I don't I don't know all that. But they call it the red devil at that time. So I said the red devil, what is that? What that do? Basically what the red devil does is harsher. It's harsher on your bones. Um and it makes your urine red. And I was like, oh, I was like, come on, cause anything to get this tumor shrinking down, let's do it. And at that time, now that I think back on it, and I evaluated everything I went through, I wish I had an advocate with me that was a cancer survivor at that time, to tell me, hey, say no to this, say yes to this, uh talk about this procedure over with your family, because it was a lot of things that I felt like I was just saying yes to just to survive. And with God's grace on me, everything that I said yes to worked out. Worked out. But we're going to get further on certain things that didn't work out. But we went ahead and did the red devil, and I'm just like, oof. Urine was red, and I was like, ugh. I didn't feel well. I had to do two chemo rounds of that red devil, and I didn't like it. I said, hey, we coming up to that next round, that last round, baby. I was ready to ring that bell. I was ready to ring that bell and say, I'm done. Ding 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 ding. I'm done. I'm good. Let's go. I'm almost to the finish line. Just gotta do this radiation for this breast. And getting ready to ring the bell, I did that by myself as well. But did that by myself as well. I was able to send pictures and videos to everybody that this was my last round of chemo, but I did that by myself. I wanted, don't you cry. I wanted family around to celebrate that milestone, to celebrate life with me, and I didn't have nobody with me to be there with me to ring that bell. So it hurt. It's y'all. I'm just giving you my truth, and just keep it in 100. Like, going through that, sometimes it was lonely. Sometimes I had that support. But in my honesty, I needed that support 24/7. I really did. It was times where I just did not want to do certain things by myself. And after I rung that bell, I had to go look at myself in the mirror. I was little, but nobody knew back home, though, in social media, besides outside of family and friends. Nobody knew I was going through this. I'm still posting pictures like everything normal. And I'm just trying to get myself back in the groove, get myself back up, back in a healthy spot again, try to get that weight back up. And here comes radiation. Here comes Radiation with its funky self. My radiology doctor, Dr. Ferguson, when I tell you that woman keeps it a G, she keeps it a buck. She keep it a buck with her patients. She said, "Hey, this is what's about to happen. Your test is making messed up. It may cause this, this, and this, and this. Your skin is gonna be burnt. It will recover. This will happen. This will happen." She didn't sugarcoat nothing. Absolutely nothing with me. And I appreciated that with her. I appreciated Dr. Draper. Dr. Draper, she was a loving doctor. Dr. Rundgren, that's my girl. That's my girl. That's like I felt like she was an auntie to me because every time I came in, well, I'm getting emotional. Every time she came in, she would come in and ask about my kids, and ask about how I was doing, how the family was doing. Those doctors meant a lot to me. They meant a lot to me. Cut. But yeah, those excuse me. But yeah, those doctors meant a lot to me, and I just want to thank you guys for everything that you have done. Um, what you done for me, for others, the ones that have went on to glory. We just want to thank you. Okay, so we at the no, we ain't at the last part. We had radiation on his breast. So I think I did 2 months of radiation on this breast. And it wasn't fun. When I tell you my skin was burnt to a crisp, this melanin was burnt. And it really did drain me. I had to drive myself to radiation because I was done with chemo and everything. So I would drive myself to radiation. I usually would do it at nighttime because I was taking care of the kids in the daytime. So I would usually do it at nighttime. And it was one time I drove myself to radiation. I didn't have not a lick of energy. It was I can't. It was rain. I remember it was raining, and I just didn't have the lick of energy, and I just had to pull over. I didn't have no energy. I just pulled over, and I just sat there, and like, why me? You know, my body's changed. It's not the same. It is totally different because I was a very conceited individual where I thought my outer appearance just spoke for itself. And I said, what do I have to offer at this point? Like, seriously. And God said, you have so much, so much to offer. You are loved. You are smart. You are intelligent. You are a good mother. A hustler makes something out of nothing. You have a lot to offer. And I was able to drive the rest of the way home just off of that encouragement because it was tiring. It was so tiring. And even when birthdays came around, my children tried to get me out the house. I remember one time I went to the skating ring and I couldn't even skate. I just watched my children skate and I couldn't even eat. And then it was one time we went to Myrtle Beach and it was for my daughter's birthday. And I was able to enjoy it, but I really couldn't enjoy it because I was worried about people looking at my burnt breast because I had a bathing suit on, of course. And I just didn't have the energy to walk the beach at night when they wanted to. I was like, go ahead with your dad. I had to lay there. I was trying to enjoy life, but my body was not ready for it. It was not ready for it. And I was just to the point where I wanted it to be over. I was done with everything. I was to the point where I was skipping 3 appointments of radiation. Miss Ferguson, she was like, ma'am, where are you? Um, I haven't seen you in a couple of appointments. So what's going on?" And that's how it was. I just didn't want another machine operating on me. I was just tired, and I was just ready for everything to be over with. And eventually I came to that point where it was over. Finally reached my last radiation session, and the two radiologists that helped me, they was able to help me ring the bell and be by my side and take a picture with me. It was really, really, really fulfilling. And my ex sister Tamika, she picked me up, and I was done. I was done, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm done. I'm done. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get back to the real world. And I went out into the real world too soon. Too soon. And you're going to find out how soon in part 3. You guys come back. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And part 3 is up next. Love you guys.